Hello, Sam. We're
Hey,
live.
hey, what's up, Claire?
Um, yes, everything's looking good. I've just um, done restreamed something from last night, and you've seen the. What did you see on Independence Day? How is it celebrated?
Well, similar to July 4th or any other country's Independence Day, we have an air show. We do barbecues, and in the evening, there's also fireworks and a lot of celebrations. There's all sorts of, organized sort of get togethers or rallies or a televised. Events with speakers and people get soldiers get certain awards on Independence Day, and a lot of things are celebrated during the day. We put on shows, music, festivals, that kind of stuff. Independence Day festivals.
Mhm.
Yeah, we celebrate Independence Day here like most Western countries.
Well,
So I got
like the
to,
4th of July.
yeah, like the 4th of July, very much so. And yeah, I got to listen to a little bit of that restream from last night. It was interesting
Oh,
with
thank
Jacob.
you.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
the point you were making that I reached in the middle of that conversation was Jacob was trying to make an argument that atheist pagans in pagan countries are less considerate towards human life in the womb. There's infanticide and a lot of abortion or lack of no empathy for the unborn or the newly born. And you came back with a retort that was very appropriate. That America is almost is on the same level as the atheist pagans, even though he wanted to claim that it's atheist Christian. It's Dr. Vladimir Zelenko, when he goes on the shows with a patriot, a populist types of podcasts, whatever. He makes the point continually. He repeats that the people that are destroying or deliberately have an agenda to undermine and destroy Western culture are devolved pagans, and they kind of project their values on the rest of us because of their ability to influence and control us through media, through the sheeple that you mentioned. Yeah, there's a lot of influence and control over it, but it's backfiring now. But your argument was correct. America is, or the West, Europe and America is not in any way superior to supposedly atheist pagans like that you might find in India or in China. They're on the same level now. They have a total disregard for life, total disregard for human life, for the unborn, murdering millions upon millions of them, heartlessly with no empathy and no hesitation. So that argument that he was making, I knew that you would come back, and came back with the proper response. You gave him the
Oh,
proper
thanks.
response.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you approve. But
yeah.
the thing is, how do we measure these things in a way? I mean, do we basically make the distinction between infanticide and abortion? Or, as far as God is concerned, that there's
They're
no
equal.
difference?
They're 100% equal. I don't care. It's these distinctions that they shouldn't be made at all. It's like whether you kill a child at the age of 2 or 3 outside of the womb is no different than killing him inside the womb. A child at 4 or 5 years old. I don't make this distinction. A human life is a human life, even in the womb or outside of the womb. He's not a clump of cells. He's not, or he or she is not a clump of cells. He or she is not a human inside the womb. They can all go fuck themselves. These retarded arguments that these lunatics make.
So, well, I mean, I am aware that for Jews there is this thing called the sin of spilling seed.
Okay, yeah.
So, well, it just seems that, such event is in fact a
Well,
holocaust.
it has spiritual consequences. Okay, it's not that a human life. It's there is what's called a tselem, a chayut. In Hebrew, it's tselem and chayut. There's a life in the seed, and that's why when it gets wasted, there's there are consequences for it. It's not like you're wasting a human life, but there's a sort of like a picture or a tselem, likeness of life, likeness of a God's creation, and to waste it is also, it ends up creating a in our tradition, in the mystical tradition, it ends up creating even demons and evil spirits. Okay, and it causes trouble for the person who did that. Basically, it ends up giving him a hard time, spiritually. It affects him mentally, spiritually, even physically. There are consequences for that.
Yes, I
But
can imagine if it was taken to the extreme point, a man might think, well, I don't need to get married. I can
yeah,
just
basically, that's what delays marriage. It also causes a lot of problems with relationships with women. It also leads to depression. It leads to a lot of negative consequences if a guy indulges in that too often and depends on that, relies on that, instead of having a relationship with a woman. Then yeah, it leads to bad things. But women that might well, also there's the other side of it. There's that women that are immodest or dress too revealing or too provocatively. If they induce a man to whack off with memories of this woman in his mind by her being too revealing or seductive or too tantalizing, to trying to tempt whatever people in public, all of those demons that he creates by spilling his seed go after that woman, and they attach themselves to that woman, and they torment that woman. They drive her mad. They drive her into a mental illness that she has to find. She has to seek help from psychiatrists or psychiatric medicines. If she does that, also there's a double. There's responsibility on both ends. If things are get out of hand and out of control, yeah, both men and women suffer from this. Women have their responsibility and men have their responsibility. So
yes. I suppose women who dress not modest, as Rabbi Miswaki puts it,
yeah,
um, uh, um, it's a kind of mating technique. You don't want to show off to everybody. I mean, it would be the equivalent
right,
of man saying, "I earn lots of money and I'm looking for a wife."
right, right.
And you tell them your salary, which is a kind of desperation, I suppose,
Well,
and
yeah,
and, and
yeah.
therefore you lower yourself in value for anyone considering you.
Well, in this materialistic culture that we're in, that's sort of like a norm, even in religious Jewish communities, even amongst the Orthodox. In New York, from what I remember, even back when I was still in America, this was becoming a thing as well. That the religious women were looking at the religious guys also based on the quality of their clothes, the quality of their shoes, to give them signs that he was financially well off, or that he had the money to purchase expensive clothes. So the religious are being just as much influenced by these values as anybody else. And there was mention of this, that there's a decline in a lot of basic values, as far as measuring the person for the goodness of his heart, the quality of his whether he's an ethical person, if he's a quality person, if he's an intelligent person, a mature person. Physical looks obviously always comes into the equation, but Jewish women in America, I'm sorry, and even in Europe, and even in Israel, they're very materialistic now. They'll judge you according to your whether you have they'll first go searching into your pockets, or like exploring your pockets, or they're very blunt about it as well. Not all of them, but a lot of them are like this. I mean, it's what they're taught. In America, especially in a city like New York, forget about it. I don't care, religious, non-religious, secular. They're all concerned about, are you making money? And so that kills it for a lot of men. That kills it. That's a very it's a big turnoff. It kind of kills their motivation. But there's always exceptions to the rule, and there are
or a gentler way of doing these things, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then, in the end, I mean, the man will say, well, am I attracted to her? And the woman will think, does he have good prospects?
Right. Well, women always make the judgment of not just prospects. Does he have resources? Will he be able to support me? I'm going to be the child bearer, and I need financial security. Those are the things that interest me the most. If I'm going to take a risk and and gamble with this guy on having children with him. So that's why it takes like the number one primary role in a woman's evaluation and judgment of a man. It's very materialistic. It's very demeaning. It's sort of like, but men have to deal with it. These are the rules of the world that we're currently living in.
So men and women are both demeaned in a way, or perhaps not so much Jewish women, who are not expected to show everything. But
secular, yes, I'm talking about secular women, or less religious women. That in Israel, it's a big problem because they're very immodest here. They wear skin tight, yoga pants and skin tight, sports bras, and they reveal their whole entire bodies. You can see the shape of and they're walking the streets. This is not on the beach, and on the beach, and even on the beach, and it gets even worse. You get G-strings, and you get like Brazilian bottoms, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, and it's
I don't want to see all that.
And it's teenage girls, and it's high school girls, and they're underage girls, and it gets to be too much. Even like the older generations, it's like I got to speaking to like people that are at the age of grandparents, and they bring their grandkids to the beach, and they are also aghast at it. It's like this is too much. This is not Brazil here. We shouldn't. This is not us. This is not. We shouldn't be imitating that kind of but in Brazil, even they're Catholic and they're conservatives about marriage, supposedly. But on the beaches over there, G-strings and topless and this and that, they're very open about showing off their bodies and exposing all of the skin there. So imitating that here gets to be rather disturbing. It gets to be disturbing. You don't need middle-aged men and grown men seeing underage girls showing off their whole entire asses are out. The shape of their entire body is right there in front of everybody to see. There's nothing left to the imagination there. It's like they may as well be naked. All right. So, and this is a fulfillment of prophecy. Even in our messianic prophecies, it's written there that the women will be naked just before the time that the Messiah will be revealed, or the time of messianic revelation, expectation for Messiah. Why? Well, Messiah is a deliverer. Messiah is a savior. What do we need to be saved from? We need to be saved from this kind of stuff. When people have no self-control, not men, not women. It's in Hebrew we say parutz. Everything is parutz. I have to find the right definition for this word in English. It's a good word to use. Give me just a second. I'll find it. Parutz. Maybe you'll hear Mizrahi say this word a lot. This is what another word for when we say prutza, we mean a prostitute. A prutza is a prostitute, but parutz is like broken into, hacked, wide open, sort of like
Ravished.
Yeah, the culture is this way. No limits, no boundaries, completely busted open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of existence that the Western world is living with, and it's influencing the rest of the world. It's all the entire world basically. The Western culture and Western world is dominant, so that you could say the entire world. And when we get to this kind of a stage, it's part of the decline. It's part of the the downward spiral. When you can't chide these people. You can't try to make them aware of this. You can't try to correct them. And it's also part of what we accept as messianic prophecy. It's also written in the Talmud as part of the signs of messianic prophecy. When you can no longer, make people aware of the fact that they're doing a lot of things wrong. That trying to chide them, trying to correct them, trying to alert them to the fact that they're behaving improperly, or they're immoral, they're unethical. In Hebrew we say en tochachat. There's no way to basically lochiach. You can't chide anybody. You can't discipline them. There's no way to get it
because of our culture of egalitarianism, which was what the French Revolution brought in, the idea of equality. So you try to tell anybody off, and they'll say, "Who are you to tell us anything?"
Right. Well, and it devolves. That's why it devolves. So if you call it atheist paganism or atheist Christianity, it doesn't matter. It's all devolved. There's no limits. There's no discipline. There's no control anymore. And when you try to, make people aware of the fact that they're doing they don't spiritual harm to themselves, to their community, to their overall, to their country overall, they don't accept this. They don't recognize this. That's why they ignore spirituality completely.
But surely the whole idea of God, even if you don't believe in God, the idea of hierarchy, would just come from, there is God who is above humanity because he created the universe, and therefore he has power over humanity. Well, humanity, if we're all equal with each other, then the only way we can, get to the top of society would be to use violence or cunning and tell lies in order to trick people so that we get to the top. And this would create a chaotic criminal society. Well, if we all perhaps behaved as if we believed in God, then we would have to, be reined in with all the, evil urges, many of us might have.
Well, the hierarchy, let's take an example. Let's take for example the United Kingdom's royals. They were supposed to be models of virtue, and they were supposed to set an example for their subjects or for their people, and they've lost any sort of claim to that. Completely.
Yeah, because they don't even enjoy freedom of belief, because if any of the royals said, I'm not going to be Anglican anymore, I'm going to convert to Judaism or Islam or whatever, they lose the right to inherit the throne. They have to be Anglican, so they don't have, the most freedom of belief.
Not only that, I'm saying that as royals, they're supposed to be beacons of virtue, and they're supposed to be Teflon, not because they're protected, but because they're moral in their actions. They represent the top of the heap. But we see what they're all about. We see the underbelly of what they're really all about, and how they're spiritually empty and bankrupt and hypocrites, and who they support. World Economic Forum, they support culling the population, and so they're not an example They're not a model. They're not role models to look up to. They're nobody. The British are that still are a you know what do you call the British that still have sentimental feelings for the royals? They're royalists. Okay,
Monarchists, maybe.
monarchists,
Or royalists, yes.
monarchists, royalists. Yeah. Well, give me a second, my boys here. Just give me a second.
Hi, John.
It looks like you're having a fun shindig with Sam. What's going on?
Yeah, yeah, and he was telling us about Independence Day and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
what have you been doing? You've been painting?
I have been painting. Yeah, oh yeah, enjoying my life. Just trying to take it easy and just you know, just trying to not overwhelm myself and you know, I don't know how to. What's the word? Let loose. Not no recharge. I'm trying to recharge my batteries. So you know, how's
Yeah.
everything with you, Claire?
Well, I've just been, streaming. I was talking to Jacob yesterday, and I'm quite pleased with the conversation. We ranged over quite a few issues. So I thought that was quite good. And yeah, Sam heard a bit of it, and he commented approvingly. So that was
Speaking of Jacobs, Jacob Berman is having Joe Atwell on his show as a guest today in about 5 or 6 hours, and they're going to discuss Shakespeare and Joseph Atwell's book, Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. Thrilling stuff. Joseph Atwell is a very intelligent person. You had a conversation with him, Claire. He's very, very. His acumen is sharp. His memory, his ability to associate things properly, and make his case. He's got the brain power, and his name is kind of intriguing. At will, he can conjure up his arguments at will. He's very good. Yeah, he's very good at it. His ability to his argumentation skills are very good. Yeah.
So what is this book about?
The fact that it was a Jewish response to the Gospels, the writers, the hidden authors of Shakespeare's plays are actually Jewish. They were a sort of like crypto Jews or Jews that were in the royal court at the time of the Henry. I don't know which Henry it was. It could have been Henry VIII. The people who actually did the work.
I got married to the widow next door. I was married 7 times before. And
that guy.
Everyone's Henry.
Yeah, that guy.
Sorry, sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Why not?
I didn't get what is that song?
It's a song we sing here in America to make fun of English people.
Oh.
It's like a anti-English. It's like a funny song we sing, like a kid song.
Irish.
It's a satire song,
Uh-huh.
I'm Henry VIII. I am. I got married to the widow next door. I was married 7 times before. I don't know. It's a goofy song.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, so if you didn't ask him about it, he wrote a sequel to the Caesar's Messiah. It's called Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. And he's coming out with a new book, I think, about some other intriguing findings that he wrote a book on. He saw that there's so many hidden messages in all of Shakespeare's plays that he understood that the authors were Jewish, and it was a Jewish response to the Gospels, to the Evangelium, and they understood who the author, who the author's identities were of the Gospels. They understood that Flavius Josephus was not only an agent of the Romans, but he might have been just a pen name. He just might have been a nom de plume. He might not have been an historical person. It was just a name for a literary figure that who had teams of people behind him, but he's not a real person. It's just a name that was chosen for his works. And so they followed that same sort of mode and model. They made up a name, William Shakespeare, and they are the original authors of his plays. But hidden in the content of all of William Shakespeare's plays is a Jewish response to the Gospels. And
what Jewish response?
basically mocking the Gospels, mocking the value system that you find in the Gospels, in a hidden way in the works of William Shakespeare. The authors of the true authors of William Shakespeare's plays are Christopher Marlowe and the woman he had an affair with, which who went by the name. No, not her. Bassano, Amelia Bassano. That's her name. And they were court Jews. They were teaching the children of the royals at the time. They were their instructors, their teachers. And they also took part in translating the Hebrew and the Latin necessary to create the King James Bible in English. The King James Bible, it was translated by the people that authored William Shakespeare's plays. They had the background. They were classically trained in Italy, in Italian and in Latin, and they spoke Hebrew because they were Jews. They were educated in Hebrew as well, and they spoke English. They had all of these languages. They were the hidden pieces of the puzzle that Atwill identifies accurately. And he gives a story about Christopher Marlowe having been executed by the authorities in England at the time because they figured out that he was the one that had discovered the true origins of the Gospels, the true authorship of the Gospels, and he was about to release a book exposing the true roots and origins of the Gospels, and the authorities got rid of him. They executed him. And Amelia Bassano made a lot of references to this in the writings of Shakespeare. And Joe Atwill goes into it very clearly, very convincingly. His argumentation is spot on, and basically, like you can't put chinks in the armor. It's like bulletproof. His argumentation. It's worth watching. Go to Jacob Berman's channel, History Valley, and you'll see Joseph Atwill explaining his thesis on Shakespeare and Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. So one book supports the other. His argumentation becomes solid and bulletproof, both on the Gospels and both on the writings of Shakespeare, which have had such an enormous impact on us and our world for centuries. Okay, especially on English culture and even American, Western culture. Shakespeare is very powerful and influential in shaping and having shaped society and the values and of Western culture. It's a big part. It's a big part of it.
Right, but I mean, which play was it that challenged the?
Well, from Atwill, from Joe, one of the first things he mentioned was when he caught on to it by reading I forget which play, but it was in regards to Domitian, and Domitian having a sort of like a hobby of catching flies, and it's
pulling wings and legs off.
Yes, and that was actually. It's in Hamlet.
Yeah, because I forget which characters.
Claudius,
maybe Lear, maybe. I think it. But there was this reference, like, are we to the gods what the fly is to these boys who wantonly pull their wings and legs off?
Yeah, I'll let him explain it. I'm not a Shakespearean scholar in any way, shape, or form. Shakespeare bored the hell out of me in high school, and that's what even Atwill said. He said in high school Shakespeare used to bore the hell out of me, and I didn't follow it very well. I wasn't inspired by it. I wasn't sort of motivated by it. But when I found out the hidden layers of meaning there. It became unbelievably eye-opening and intriguing, because he reads between the lines. He finds things, and he makes the associations, because he found the associations in both the Gospels to the works of Flavius Josephus, Wars of the Jews, and that's where his skills in the observations and ability to make connections is worth its weight in gold, because the man has the ability to see things that other peoples don't see, because you can't draw the connections. They don't have the historical sort of like not I wouldn't say he committed it to memory. It's in his mind. He instantly sees the connections, the parallels, and so he understands who to give credit for that. He understands who's the real people at the time that fit the bill, that fit the role, that their identities make them perfect candidates for the true authorship of Shakespeare. And because of the fact that they were crypto Jews that were forced to convert to Christianity, for him it's the perfect motivation. It's sort of like what drove them. It was explains it that they were bitter. They were bitter towards Christianity. They were bitter towards the West. They were bitter towards Europe. They were bitter towards the experiences that the Jews had to experience under Christianity in Europe. So they responded in a sly way, in a disguised way, in a hidden way, so as not to draw the ire of the authorities of the royals. But he claims that Christopher Marlowe actually was foolish enough to make his findings known to the intellectual circles of that time, that he wrote a book exposing the Roman provenance in the Gospels well before somebody like Bruno Bauer came along in the 19th century, a contemporary of Nietzsche and Marx and Engels. Remind me, Shakespearean literature is from the 15th century, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's
Elizabethan times. So, 1500s.
Something like before Bruno. Say what?
Late 1500s, early 1600s, I believe.
Right. So that's like 300, approximately 300 years before the Enlightenment intellectuals in Germany and in Europe were brave enough to openly study the possibility that the Gospels are authored by the Romans themselves, having Roman provenance.
Right. According to Wikipedia, Shakespeare was born on the 26th of April and died on the 23rd in 1564, and died on the 23rd of April 1616.
All right, so you could say those centuries, 16th century, 17th, early 17th century, late 16th century, because not 15, whatever. Okay, so we know it's the authorities caught on to the fact that there was somebody challenging the divine provenance of the Gospels and the claims of the Gospels, or the claims of having been inspired divinely, of having divine provenance, or the authorship of the Gospels being supposedly Jewish, of Jewish writers, which is bullshit. It was a conglomeration of people. And now we know Joseph Atwell's thesis is basically what Christopher Marlowe discovered, approximately 400 years ago. And what Bruno Bauer discovered 150 years ago when he, in the middle of the 19th century. So there have been many attempts to, make this disappear, these claims, this information, this scholarship disappear. But now we're in the information age, and if anything has been busted open, it's this information that can no longer be put back in the bag. The cat is out of the bag, and the genie's out of the bottle, and you can't conceal this information anymore. Yeah, no, this is not an Islamic channel. No, my boy is coming in here to beat me up with a club. A plastic air club, whatever. He just feels like he wants to beat me up for some reason. Yeah, I came home from the events, and he surprised me at the door, and I didn't see him, and he just started beating me over the head with this bat. That
Well, you
said,
didn't take him. I guess he must be mad at you for not taking him.
no, but he showed up late. He showed up late. He has this here. I'll show you this. Give it to me. Give it to me. give it to me. תביא לי רגע, אני רוצה להראות לאנשים. תן לי רק שנייה, לחברים, תן לי רק שנייה, אני רוצה להראות את זה. All right, give me a second. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. He's got this sort of like a club that's, air, like
Yes,
plastic.
a baseball club.
A baseball club for Independence Day with the Israeli flag on it. So he's beating me over the head with it. Okay, very good. All right, stop. All right, okay.
No.
Yeah, go. Okay, I'm kicking him out.
Shut up.
No, I'm kicking him out. Because he's misbehaved. He's misbehaved. I have to just.
A few more hits.
He's I locked the door now. He misbehaved. All right. Anyway, so the thing about it is, all this information is coming out now, and it's very revealing. It's amazing that so much about our culture is deceptive, and there's so many such a big, huge subtext to all of it, in the religion and in the literature and the culture itself. There's so much hidden information there, and once it gets revealed, we're in a paradigm shift. We're going through a major shift in understanding and in our ability to trust what we're told. Nothing that we're told can be trusted as easily as it once was. We're living in the information age now. We can always have the ability to cross-reference, double-check, independently if what we've been fed is the truth or falsehoods, deceptions, deliberate manipulation. So yeah, I would recommend watching that. It's on Jacob Berman's channel called History Valley. I'll be watching. He'll have Joseph Atwell on to talk more about his book Shakespeare's Secret Messiah, having it be, according to Atwell, a response to the Gospels by Jews. It's like the Jewish response to the Gospels, and he says even in the name there's a code, as far as like a martial challenge in the name itself. If
this is later in 5 hours' time on Jacob.
Yeah, on James on Jacob Berman's channel called History Valley. Mm-hmm. But he said the name itself that they chose for as their nom de plume, as their pen name, is a martial challenge to the authorities and to the religious rule over them. If you shorten the name William, his nickname is Will, right? So if you just shorten the name William to Will, and then attach it to Shakespeare, that's Will Shakespeare. So it's a martial challenge, according to Joseph Atwell, to the Gospels, and you find there. He's saying that Amelia Bassano chose to use comedy and humor and tragedy to, answer the literature or the fictions that you find in the Gospels, the fiction of the Jebus. She had, like in Hamlet, she has everybody at the end killing one another, as a like a mocking kind of humorous response to the effects that the Gospels had on people that were indoctrinated into these false texts from birth. She's responding in a mocking, humorous way, and so is Christopher Marlowe. There's a group of people there that wrote William Shakespeare's works and plays, and he says that he can identify them by their writing style or by the tone they use, and he sees the difference in the authorship there. He says he draws distinctions even within William Shakespeare's plays. I forgot. There's another one that he liked that he mentioned in Othello. I think it's in Othello. It was in Othello where he found Domitian, a reference to Domitian. And there's in all of it. Also, he says he understood the usage of the themes and the backgrounds and the actor, the characters that were chosen. It's all an attempt to poke fun at the ruling classes of Europe and to mock them and to flip the effects of the Gospels on its head and throw the pie back in the face of the ruling classes. I'm surprised he didn't mention it when you interviewed him, but yeah, it's worth watching.
Okay, and it's Shakespeare's Secret Messiah.
Right.
That is his new book, not yet published.
No, it's published.
It's
been out. No, it's been out for years. It's like he published it not too long after Caesar's Messiah, because he made these revelations. He personally studied this, and these revelations came to him, and he authored these books in the early part of the 2000s. Look that up. I mean, look up Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. See when it was published. I'm not using my keyboard here. I'm using my mouse.
2014.
2014. Okay, so it's been a while. It's been 10 years almost.
Okay.
So yeah. So he's going to discuss that. This stuff it doesn't sink in for a lot.
Mark Berman you're talking about rather than Jacob Berman.
Jacob Berman. That's the channel's name is History Valley. Search YouTube History Valley and set a reminder for yourself. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be watching. I'm in the comments section. I'm going to be commenting because Joseph Atwill is one of my favorite guests. I don't care if he's critical of Judaism and what he calls the Old Testament, and then not having that be the fallback position or the solution. What he proposes is fine by me. I'm perfectly in alignment with what he's suggesting as a solution, as a sort of like a response to humanity having been manipulated for centuries, by the ruling classes. Well, I'm not under the illusion not for 1 minute that I'm in league with these people or somehow on the winning team, their team. No. None of us are on the winning team being peons. They are very exclusive about who they are choosing to be on their team. It's not even a percentage of the world's population. They are very cunning and malicious, and they have evil intentions, and it's all about how these megalomaniacs operate. Their minds are very twisted. What Vladimir Zev Zelenko, the doctor, said is that they are devolved, and so it's about trying to get rid of everybody. They have a genocidal impulse when they feel it's their response. They are playing God. They are driven by sick satanic evil forces. They are satanic. They are devolved pagans, and they pretend to be honorable or respectable or worthy of respect when they're not. And now everybody can see through them. Most people can see through them. We could see through people like Bill Gates. We could see through people like George Soros. We could see through people like Klaus Schwab. We could see through them. We know who they are. We know what they're about. And all the other groups in the power structure. It's not that difficult. They're out in the open. They expose themselves. They uncloaked. They made themselves visible because this is the end game for them. So they're going for all the marbles. It's the end game for them, And so we must deal with them because they are the ones deliberately demoralizing us. They're the ones deliberately pushing for these, degenerative types of people that, they give them free reign and they argue in favor of them. But it's so retarded, so ridiculous now. Their arguments, like you said, for this intersectionalism, a majority of the world's population, it will not allow this and not accept this and not tolerate this. They will speak out against this, and I think that they want this to happen. They want this conflict. They want this infighting. They want the people at each other's throats. They will push the limits. They do want this to get out of hand. That's why they're, they're
just sort of, teenagers in adult bodies who read too much science fiction and think they can, impose these radical social experiments on us just because they can, and their
right.
friends are in the government.
Yeah, they've lost it.
We're reading, science fiction, mad scientists think he's going to try this on us.
But I mean, it's been a work in progress for the longest time. I mean, and now this the people that received the baton was handed down to them by their predecessors, their relatives or their predecessors, as far as the monarchs or the royals are concerned, or the people also from as far as the 19th century, like you mentioned, Malthus and Spencer and Darwin and eugenicists, and it translated into Nazism and the Holocaust, and now and then it got transferred over to the West, it continued into Britain and into America. These are the same people. They also smuggled them into America because they had hands-on experience with eugenics and genocide, and it translated into Western culture. It's a proponent of Western culture. This desire to want to call the population, to marginalize the population, to control the population, to give them the illusion of freedom. To keep them under control, and it's all unraveling for them now. All of this because it's been exposed by various sources, by many groups of people that were ethical and responsible, and they exposed all of these agendas. So that's why it's going to drive.
It's happened before, but the way you're talking, I'm just suddenly reminded of all these stories from childhood, like the Emperor's New Clothes.
Right.
So what that reminded me that and even the story of the boy who cried wolf.
Correct.
I think all this must have happened before.
Yes.
Which is why eventually people learned about, marriage is the most important human tradition. It is actually eugenic. If you're, and it's eugenic enough, and you're just reinventing the wheel when you think of eugenic policies, because actually we won't know if our policies are eugenic until our civilization is extinct, because just the nature of things.
Yeah, it's true, but there have been policies that have been implemented that let us just come naturally to the conclusion that the powers that be want to dumb down the population. And if that's not eugenic, I don't know what is. They want to change the people physically. Now they want to get into your body, like Harari, like that sick degenerate from Israel in Hebrew University. Yuval Noah Harari saying we need to get into people's bodies, that you won't have free will anymore. We'll have complete control over you. People can be, herded with artificial intelligence, and he's making these statements out in the openly.
Really? But I mean, okay. His most shocking statement was, "We won't have to work, and we'll be happy." And it made me think of the Matrix. It's like, we just have fun, but we're just brains in a box.
Yeah, but what are the preconditions and what are the terms? They don't want people procreating. They don't want people to have normal heterosexual relationships, and those are the terms. And they want you living at home, or they want you isolated and restrict your ability to travel outside of your immediate environment. They want to restrict travel as well. They don't want people to be mobile.
With the driverless cars, so they don't want us learning how to drive.
All of it. They want people depend. It's like the worst dystopic Hollywood movie about the future and having a controlled, society. These are the people. I mean, it's not fiction. They're real. These people are real. They have these kinds of ideas. They have these plans, this agenda, and they're ridiculous. They look like absolute clowns at this point. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care if they're in control of the banks. I don't care if they can pull all these strings. If enough people around the world see them for what they are, they're done. Nobody's going to play along. So what do they end up doing? They go to Plan B. Let's blow up the entire fucking world. Let's have a nuclear war. Let's blow up. Let's induce Russia to start or let's provoke Russia, and we'll have a bloody fucking nuclear holocaust. That's where it ends up with these lunatics. I mean, they're out of their minds. They're fucking insane.
Sam, a while back you posted a video from History Valley. I remember that, and I didn't really get it. The title is a Ralph Ellis post-examination episode with James Valiant and Christopher.
Right.
And I have no idea what it is about.
No. They were just examining the books of Ralph Ellis because Ralph Ellis makes really extravagant claims, and his scholarship is not reliable at all. His scholarship is questionable.
What is this?
No, he's saying that there was a king that came out of Edessa. That's the real Jesus. He's trying to find the real Jesus. And it's not reliable. His scholarship is not really reliable. He makes too many obscure connections, and it's tantalizing that what he says that Jesus is a real person that was the son of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar, and he ended up being in Persia and Parthia, and then he ended up in Edessa. It's a lot of nonsense. He connects. He jumbles a lot of things that are totally disconnected. So they were doing a critique of his work, and they were cross-examining his work in order to, try to, identify who the real inspiration for the Jesus character was, or who the real inspiration was for the character of James, the brother of Jesus, or the real character for John the Baptist. There are real people in history that inspired the authors of the Gospels and the authors of the works of Josephus, the Wars of the Jews, Life, and Antiquities, all the history of the Jews. All of that is just in the same style of Aristotle's work. And so these were intellectuals. They were very learned people, the people who wrote Shakespeare, okay? And Shakespeare is as a response in the same motif, the same style, the same sort of techniques, hiding a lot of information between the lines or in the literature itself, and having allusions to other things that only smart people that have the background and the knowledge that they've committed to memory make the immediate connect, like a person like the minds of Joseph at will. And that's why he's a treasure. He's precious. His mind is a treasure trove. It's like golden. And I like Joseph Atwill for having this ability. I don't have it. I didn't commit myself to this kind of scholarship and to this kind of exploration, and that's why the man is also very well off financially, because he's very smart. I'll give him a lot of credit. And I ask you
if Ralph Ellis is actually Christian?
He was born British Anglican, I believe, but I don't think he's not. He doesn't believe in Jesus. No, he wrote a lot of books questioning the historical Jesus, and he thinks he knows who the historical Jesus is. But his work is kind of wacky crackpot kind of. He's convincing. He's got that British accent, and he knows how to make his arguments well. But he says that he was the first one to identify the chronological chasm in the Gospels, realizing that they were written in a way that was backdated in order, to convince the readers that it's prophecy. Yeah, and there's also, and Atwill agrees with this because he sees the agenda the Romans had in backdating the Gospels. He has his take on it as well. It's for legitimation and for all sorts of reasons why it was done. Anyway, Ralph Ellis is not. He's not 100%. He's not reliable as far as his take on history. Joseph Atwill is far more reliable. People like James Valiant are very reliable with their scholarship and their findings. The clues they found, their research that they did is very reliable. And also, you have the professor out of California that wrote the book, James, the brother of Jesus, Professor Eisenman.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
and these people are in the lead in this field of endeavor, this research, and the cases they make, the arguments they make are bulletproof. Christians have a hard time in trying to debate them and fight these the findings that are there in front of everybody's eyes. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be super intellectual to figure out what was done. If you just put the pieces together, it's very logical. Roman provenance is going to be the a basic accepted understanding for the beginnings of Christianity and how Christianity was developed and how it was built and created. It was created for obvious reasons, and the cases that they make are more than just interesting. They are bulletproof, in my opinion. It's going to be the I'm having sort of like brain fog, Claire. The consensus. It's going to be the accepted consensus soon, and whether Christians like it or not, it doesn't matter. It's just going to, because information is so available now, and the access to information. It's just going to be the consensus. Ken, Lakshmi, give me a second.
Okay. Yeah, it is about denying Jesus because Christianity is a problem. The fact that Christianity has failed is the problem in the West. So it's, got to be exposed. Its failure has to be pointed out, exposed, understood, dealt with.
I agree with you perfectly well that there is no taking it back. There's no trying to put the genie back in the bottle. There is no trying to put the cat back in the bag. It's out in the open. There's no way of legitimizing it anymore. And that's what Joseph Atwill, who was born Catholic, raised Catholic, educated as a Catholic, he makes a very good case as to why it all has to be exposed. It all has to be revealed in order for us to come to terms and make peace with the fact that it's been centuries long of a oligarchical manipulation.
Because it's simple when you think about it, isn't it? The story of Jesus was meant to support the divine right of kings. So,
right.
And the bargain to the believer is that if you believe Jesus is God, you're going to go to heaven, and God will make everything right again. So don't worry about the injustices you see everywhere, and the wrong stuff being done. And even if you do wrong, you can ask for absolution. You just confess, and so I guess it worked for ages because people wanted to believe in it, and there were terrible consequences for not so believing, and it just became this thing that has become a shadow of its former self.
Right, but when Atwill, through his movie, through the documentary Caesar's Messiah, at the beginning of that documentary, He explains the foundations and origins and the real motivation and the real purpose behind the agenda behind it, why it was picked up by the fascist Roman Empire, because it was
Yeah,
so
so
easy.
shut up and don't ask, don't question anything. Just follow
Right.
the laws, and you'll get to heaven. And shut up.
Pretty much. And that's the point I was getting at. And that should be exposed for what it is. If people don't make peace with that and they don't come to terms with that, they will never be free. They will always be under the hand of despots telling them who their God is and what the rules are. You'll never be free.
Because the rules will keep changing, because the despot will keep changing his mind about stuff, and the thing about having revealed scripture is that Jews can go back and say, well, where does it say what you say it says in the Torah, and so Muslims can say, well, it doesn't say that in the Quran, this new law that you're gonna and it would encourage literacy and a questioning kind of intellect.
Yeah, literacy was the real beginnings of undoing Christianity, and that's what they were so afraid of. That's why they resisted the public being literate and having access to knowledge and having the ability to read. That was the beginning of the end for the original purpose and intent of Christianity.
In your investigation, did you find anything out about William Tyndale?
William Tyndale?
He was the guy who translated the Bible into English, and they burnt him at the stake.
All of them.
He wouldn't compromise on the meaning of certain words.
All of them, whether consciously or unconsciously, when they began to, make the Bible or all written information accessible to the public by doing what they did, translating it, or Gutenberg was publishing it by way of the Gutenberg press. They started chiseling away at the power structure and what Christianity was used for, as you mentioned, and Atwell mentions, the divine right of kings, this means of mind control, this means of keeping people in line, this means of maintaining classism and feudalism and the social structure that's what Christianity was used for. That was the instrument that the royals and the ruling classes used. And once you started chipping away at it, over time, it lost its effectiveness. It became a shadow of itself, like what you mentioned. But then they didn't know how to replace it properly in a healthy way. And then you have secular humanism, and then you have the Enlightenment, and then you have all philosophy and all. And then you have Nietzsche saying God is dead and we killed him. And then you have the consequences of that in the early 20th century with horrific genocidal wars as a product of the industrial age and mass slaughter and no control. And that's also was a lot, losing the reins of control there.
They haven't made tshuva for that yet, have they?
No. They are desperate now. They see themselves as losing their ability to manage they can't control the narratives anymore. They can't manage the people the way they used to. And so they're out of frustration. They've become satanic Malthusian eugenicists. Let's just kill everybody. That's the solution. You understand? It's not hard to understand that
be older to govern the people, so they warehouse them for extinction.
Yeah, pretty much. It's sick. These people are sick. They're demented, and that's why we are firmly in the end times, in the end of days, because these people are mentioned in the book of Daniel, in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Isaiah, in Zechariah. They're mentioned as Rosh Meshech and Tuval, and it's basically the ruling classes, the people in charge, or who think they are in charge, the people who challenge God, the people who think they are God. It's all mentioned in the prophets that we would understand them, understand who they are, and identify them, understand what drives them. This is what's happening now with the independent media, alternative media, social media. We're basically being introduced to the truth. and it's like a crash course. We're going through a crash course. They're forcing us to see them for what they are. They've uncloaked. We know what they are, and we know what they're about. And it's forcing us to take take some responsibility. We have to, ring the bell, ring the alarm bells. Paul Revere. We have to basically, understand that they have it in for everybody, and it causes some desperation. It causes some despair. But if you don't have any faith, you can't realize you won't realize that this is just part of what's supposed to occur. And I'm following my rabbi for these reasons for over 14, 15 years. I want to know. I want to be guided. I want to have some sort of direction. I don't want to be out there sort of like rudderless and with no guidance and no sort of like awareness. It would drive me crazy to think, well, we're on the path to destruction, and there's nothing that can be done about it. No. It's not going to be that way, and I'm convinced of it. They're not going to destroy the world. They're not going to induce a nuclear holocaust.
Well, we can fight them anyway, ideologically at least. You were talking about eugenics earlier, and you mentioned Yuval Noah Harari, and who is Jewish, and I believe I know the Gentile version of Harari,
who's that?
He is into eugenics, and I mean, he's quite interesting in that he's also gaily married, as Harari is, and I believe what he wants to do is to leave a legacy. So he knows that as a homosexual, he's unlikely to be able to have children, but he would like society organized in a way that would make it perfectly possible for people like him to have children through surrogacy, Elton John and that kind of thing. And wants, while he realizes that it would be a less efficient way of sexual reproduction, it would still be possible, and he has this idea of putting people in large homes where there would be different pairings and
who is this person
to populate the world, and his ambition is to actually exceed the numbers of people who use traditional marriage for sexual reproduction to produce the next generation. And he's actually streaming now. I suppose. And one of the things he's interested in, and I know you'll disapprove terribly, was okay, so I'm not really sure about how this works for animals, but when you breed pedigree dogs, a certain amount of incest has to be used in order to get those features and whatever, the nose, the eyes.
Right. Okay. So who is this person?
Come on. Do something for humans. And I'm saying, well, it's not going to work, but
who is this? You didn't say his name, or you didn't identify.
Yes, Bruno, and oh yes, the other thing is that he campaigns against the no-hide laws, so that might make you prick up your ears. So
no, I don't. Listen, I'm not bothered by these people in the least. I know what their fate is. I'm at peace. I'm in peace with it. I'm at peace with this.
But we want to see him interact with him.
No, God forbid. I don't interact with these animals. These are. You think I would interact with Yuval Noah Harari if I ever saw him in the street?
Well, you'd
crush him. No, man,
you'd crush him, wouldn't you? We know.
This type of person is revolting to me. Revolting. I'd be. I know what his fate is going to be. I don't have to go and try to crush him and take him down or anything. He's condemned himself. He's condemned to the horrible fate. I'm a person of faith. I'm a person that believes. I'm not gonna go there and yell at him or scream at him or crush him or say how dare you and all this. His fate in not too much longer from now is going to be so hellish that I this type of person, I will never bother with him. I will never confront him. I don't need to. I know what his fate is going to be. So, I mean, he disgusts me. People like him disgust me. In America, Europe, wherever you find him, anywhere in the world, a lot of people that, not just because of the intellectual arguments he makes, but there's plenty of sadistic, bestial types of people that are common and dumb, and I would have nothing to do with them, and I would distance myself from them, and it's just like I find them repellent. And this guy is brainy. He's academic, intellectual, and that maybe that makes some people curious to have some sort of interaction with him and debate him, argue with him, and pick his brains. But I don't even want to do that. I know what his fate is going to be. Get me away from that kind of demon. Get me the hell away from these people. I know what their fate is going to be soon. Their fate is going to be terrible. That's why I'm at peace. I'm at peace now. I don't have to debate these people. I don't feel any inkling to debate these people. No desire to debate them or engage with them, interact with them. Their fate is sealed. They are condemned. They have condemned themselves. Whatever God is going to do with them, I'm fine with that. I'm fine by me. I put my full faith in God and in this process. We are in the end of it. So I'm not resigning any responsibility or like what you said. As far as ideology, challenging them ideologically and responding to them in these kinds of discussions. But I would never, it's not about a physical battle. It's not about going over there and gouging their eyes out or having some medieval joust with them or taking them down, blowing their brains out. It's not about that. We're not going there. This is something different. We have to. This is Gog and Magog, and this is this is an apocalyptic war. This is an end times war, and it is a war of ideas, and it is a war of ideologies, and it is a war of screens. You notice we're doing it via screens, and this is Mizrahi said this, and other people said this. Gigim, war of screens, and it was not just Mizrahi. It was Alon Anava. Alon Anava said, the guy, the mystic, the Kabbalist, the rabbi in Safed in Tzfat. He said. The Gog and Magog war is a war of ideas, of thoughts, and also it's transmitted via screens. So there's inferences in the word itself, Gog. All right, this is if you want to find out the Kabbalistic meanings. Alon Anava makes it known. He publishes it on his channel, Alon Anava. But the bottom line, it will be dealt with by the deliverer, by the Mashiach, God working through the Mashiach. And this is, final judgment is harsh. These people have free reign to do as all their dirty, do the dirty, do as the worst you can. Try to do the worst you can. There will be a cutoff point. These people serve a purpose. Okay. It's all, guided by the hand of God regardless, all right? There is free will. There's also this ability to foul things up. But in the end of the day, God has his plans. And when the cutoff date arrives and he intervenes and he is directly involved, forget about these people. These people, they're forgettable as it is right now. But when the time comes and messianic revelation occurs and judgment arrives and the hand of God is involved, these people are going to be gotten rid of so quickly that it will make your head spin. So I don't think of them as worth having any discussions with, So that's where I put my full faith. I know what this process entails. I know how it's going to end. It's going to end very badly for these people. They're going to, that's why I'm not so worked up about them. I know that they're doing all this harm. I know that they're doing all this beyond mischief. It's demonic. It's satanic. It's destructive. It's dangerous. It's threatening my life. It's threatening the lives of everybody on the planet. But I put my full faith in God, and in this process, knowing where we have arrived in this process, we are on the edge. It's already, any day now. What I'm hearing is that Putin already gave approval for a test run of an electromagnetic EMP type attack that was supposedly thwarted just recently. There was a test run. It was testing the waters, like a preliminary attempt to see how he could possibly activate an electromagnetic pulse or some electromagnetic attack, because the man is also people accuse him of so many things, but I see him as a responsible leader. He doesn't want nuclear holocaust. He doesn't want to see his people obliterated, incinerated in a nuclear war. So he's taking every step to sort of prevent that. And if it means non-lethal indirect paralysis of the West for everybody's sake, God bless him. I hope he succeeds. I hope it works. If it's some sort of coordination, or I don't know what the hell is it. It's also the World Economic Forum was talking about this cyber attack or some sort of event. They were forecasting it. They were projecting it. Something soon will take us into such a major paradigm shift that it boggles the mind. And only people of faith that understand that this is God's hand is involved in this, and this is part of Messianic revelation. I resign the responsibility to God, because I have it's way beyond my pay grade. I'm not in charge here. God is in charge here. I'm a participant, but I'm also witnessing it. I'm seeing it. There's no way of not being participants in it. We're all involved in this now, but it's out of our hands. The best thing we can do is doing what we do here, speaking about it, letting people know where we are according to our perspective, our take on it. And they can argue and debate away as much as they like. It's not going to help them. This is a process in the hands of God right now. All right, mm-hmm. People that have eyes can see what's happening. All this social degeneration, all these things that are happening right now, it was all prophesied. Too many specific things, like what I told you about the women being naked, prophesied. Inflation and prices going through the roof, prophesied. People, having no respect for one another, not having the ability to discipline one another, prophesied. All the wars, prophesied. The fact that children are disrespectful, and we've lost control of the children, prophesied. So many things have fallen into place for believers, Jewish believers, that what's the word? You can't argue it anymore. If you're a believer, you're in full faith. You're committed. You realize this is not some hokey, frickin' fake Messiah from the 17th century. What's his name? That schizophrenic Shabtai Tzvi. All right, or the Jeebus from 2,000 years ago, a Roman invention. The most diabolical machination of the ruling classes that has bamboozled and tricked 50 generations of human beings. That fake, false, invented Messiah. It's not him, and it's not Shabtai Tzvi. It's the real deal now. And you can laugh and mock, and whoever's listening, you can all, I'm not going to say it, but basically enjoy yourselves, because your time is just about up.
There's an article in RS about your rabbi, which I posted. He's 48 years old, is he?
No, he's older than that. No, he's older.
Oh, okay. Maybe this is an old article. I don't know if you read the article. Let's see what's this.
He's already a grandfather, I think.
Oh, this was 2005. This is an
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But people, if they want to know who he is, he's very well known. He's not an obscure rabbi. He's a known. Well, and that's also a requirement, that he should be known, that he should be a father to children. He's not some demigod, and he's not born of a virgin. There's all this crap from the first century CE, and we know what drove that, and we know what made all of that. We can deconstruct all of that thanks to people like Joseph Atwell. So you could throw that out the window. And I know that a lot of people are disillusioned and dispelled, and so they're confused. They're looking for anything to grab a hold of, and so they go into philosophy and politics and history and eugenics and these whack jobs that you have out in the open, telling us how they're going to control our future and control all of humanity to our faces. They're clowns, and if they don't get their way, then they're going to support the mass culling via either nuclear war or I won't get into it because you got to strike over it. So I won't. People can realize what I'm suggesting. All right. So anyway, the thing is, there's only for Jewish believers that are faithful. That are not, making excuses or rationalizing things away, whether they're in America or the United States or Europe or wherever they are. If they are resigned to their faith, they know that this is a divine process, and the only distinction is that the Jews of Israel that are in Israel that are believers realize that they are in the right place, and that they don't want to be where the diaspora Jews are now. You can have people that believe in the Messianic process and the redemption, but my rabbi said it himself. He was chiding, he was castigating them, he was trying to make them aware, even the religious ones. You have no God living over there in the exile, in the diaspora, the Jews of the diaspora. You have no protection, no God, and you don't believe in the Mashiach, and you don't believe in the redemption. You can talk about it day and night, but if you believed in it, you would be in Israel right now, protecting yourselves, protecting the lives of your children, and protecting whatever you can take with you. Save your asses. You don't believe in it. Because you don't believe in it, and because we have arrived at the time when it's just about to happen, Messianic revelation, my rabbi was insulting them, and rightfully so, telling them, you have no Elachem Elokim. You have no God living over there anymore. You have no Shekhinah. The divine presence, the protective divine presence of God has left you. It's left you. There's a void there, and what's entered the void are the forces of evil. Everything is going to work against you. Everything's already working against you. So that guy Jacob, whatever that you talked to yesterday, said he didn't want to alienate the Christians. You fucking want. I'm sorry to use profanity. I'm not going to use profanity. I'm not going to use. I'm going to be in control. I'm going to be a sort of. I'll try to be civil about it. Rabbinic civil. I'll try to be polite about this. Why in the hell are you still concerned about whether you're alienating the Christians or not? Why should you kiss their asses anymore? Why should you rely on them? Why should you lean on them? Why? It's over. It's over. You will only come to that conclusion the hard way. I know you want to have your American easy life, your comfortable nest there, what you've grown accustomed to. And I know that it's unfathomable the fact that living in Israel is totally out of the question for people like him. For all the reasons that they come up with, all the argumentation they have. But you will be forced to come back here. Mark these, count on it.
Do you want people like him in Israel, though? I mean,
it's not up to me. I'm not the decision maker. I'm not God. I'm not the one there. It's God's will that is driving all of them back. Who gets to come back? Who doesn't get to come back? It's also it's up to God. The filtering, the process, the decision making. It's not up to me. I'm not the one, deciding which Jew comes back and which one doesn't. It's 100% in God's hands. But the warnings that and the announcements here, I'm repeating my rabbi's messages. I'm trying to be loyal to his message because I believe in his message, and that's what I'm trying to give. transmit it to the viewers or whoever the Jews that in America are that listen to this, that want to take it seriously, don't want to take it seriously, or on the fence about it, see something in it that's eye-opening and sort of like, wait a minute, some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. You've been given enough time. There are no excuses left for you. You want to continue on in this sort of walking the tightrope with the Gentiles. Don't alienate the Christians. Don't alienate these people or those people. Be very careful and very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Crafty or clinical about what you say and how you say it, and try to be diplomatic and try to negotiate so you don't have a hard time in the exile, in the galus, in the diaspora with the Gentiles. These are the considerations that they've been making forever. And so the person you were talking to yesterday, he was making those kinds of considerations, not realizing the time is up, my dear Jewish brother. Time is up, my friend. This is what you refuse to come to terms with. You will be forced to come to terms with this. What I'm telling you now, your time is up. These considerations you're making about don't alienate the Christians, don't alienate the Gentiles, be careful what you say, be very measured and conniving and sort of like overly calculating. No. You are in a very, very precarious situation, and you know it. That's why you make these kinds of suggestions. I don't want to alienate the Christians. I'm sorry. I had non-Jewish friends in America, and I think for their benefit and for your benefit, not being calculating. I'm not being I'm not calculation. I'm not being diplomatic, and I'm not being measured in the choice of words that I'm using. I'm telling you to your faces, your time is up, and you know it. And that's where I'm going to end it. I'm going to have to end it there, Claire. I think the message was repetitive but firm. I've repeated it often, and it's not me. You listen. I'm just repeating my rabbi's message, Rabbi Nir Ben Artzi. Okay, look him up, talk to him, talk to his people. If you can't speak Hebrew, you've got plenty of people in America and in Europe and even here that even if they're referencing him or not referencing him, they are aware. They're awake. They see what's happening. We're on the edge of so much calamity, so much bedlam, and you're still making these calculations of, well, we don't want to alienate the Christians. For God's sake, okay? Just give it up already. It's over. It's over. All right? So take it easy, Clara. It was fun.
It's fun. Okay.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.